Morning Stampers, I'm Meg from Loven Stamps and this is Maker Mornings with Meg. I have a Wednesday edition for you today, and the card that we're going to make is actually available in two versions. So you could make the real version of this card or you could make the faux version of this card. We're going to do a triple panel, and the absolute ideal stamp set is available right now for this card layout, and it is the All Squared Away stamp set and the coordinating so many pieces, square floral dies, Floral Squares Dies. Okay, I don't want to get that backwards. Anyway, the two of them come together to make some really fun cards. This is one of those, it's not like a super splashy stamp set. It doesn't leap off the page, but it's one of those workhorses that you can use for really a lot of different things. And we're going to combine the two of them with the Sweet Symmetry Designer Series paper. Here's the back sides for sort of a Scandinavian design sort of look. So I don't know what you call it. Danish design, Swedish design, something, Swedish florals, something like that. So I'm going to give you both versions of the card, the real version and the faux version, and you guys can decide which one you like better to make on your own. But we have kind of some big things coming today. Also at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, the retiring list will release from this book. And so some of the things that I'm going to show today might be on that list or are guaranteed to be on that list depending on which way we're going. So I think that is kind of gets us our intro. Anyway, morning to Sandy and Deborah and Sue and Kay and Terry and Melissa and Doris and Trish and Elaine and Tanya and Carol. Anyway, we're like back in business, right? I don't know, Facebook I think forgot that we were here because we had some spring break rewind, but we're all running again. So, and Merlinda, hi everybody. Okay, I'm gonna flip our camera down. There we go. And my shirt today is actually another new one. It is from a new pattern company. It was actually a tester pattern that I got to test to kind of give input on the pattern as they were developing. So that was kind of fun. All right, and my computer is way slow. Oh, that's because it's on the wrong internet. All right, so like I said, here are our selection of pieces, and these are going to be true whether you are making the real version or the faux version of this card, okay? So your choices basically are going to start, kind of like giving away our punchline there. Your choices basically are going to start out the same. So I have a half sheet of cardstock. So this is cut to 5.5 by 8.5. And instead of scoring at the normal places, I'm going to score it at the 1 1/4 line and the 5 1/4 line, okay? The panel for the inside is a little narrower than usual. It's 4 1/4 or 5 1/4 tall by 3 3/4 wide. And then the panel that you're gonna cut for the front, this is just like I showed the other day, where you're gonna just go ahead and cut your whole panel and then chop it so that you'll have the pieces that match. This is actually 5 1/4 by 4. And if you're looking for all these cutting dimensions, I always put them on my blog when I have a blog post for our card, so you can check that out at lovenstamps.com. All right, so that gets us started. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and cut 1 inch off of this paper here so that we have two panels, one for the front and one for the flap, okay? So we've got that. And you can also, of course, use your scoring blade to do your scoring for this card, or you could use a scoring, the Simply Scored board, or whatever you want. So this one, I'm gonna face you guys this direction. And our first piece is gonna go here. Now, I just said that I cut that so that it would match, and then I promptly forgot which part was gonna go where. So let me get my seal here. Take the lid off the seal. Do you guys save the lids for your seal, or do you just figure you're using it all the time, so why put a lid on it? I had a Stampin' party last night, so I actually took my seal with me, so I put the lid on, and it kind of throws me off there. All right, so we've got this. Deborah says she's excited to see the new colors and the catalog. Yeah, if you are a demonstrator, you get first crack at seeing the new catalog PDF. So if you're not a demonstrator, you're like, what? I could get that today. you can flip over to my website at Loven Stamps and click on the Join My Team page. I just had somebody join just the other day because she's excited about the pre-order, and take advantage of that. Now, this is going to go here on the inside, and I'm not going to stamp that yet. I'm going to show you why when we get to putting our card together, because I'm going to sort of do some placement there. All right, so for our faux triple panel, we are going to cut a front card hole here, but let's go ahead and put our ornament together so that we know where it's going to go here. Faith said, oh, what time does the PDF of the new catalog go live? For demonstrators today, it is at 1 p.m. Mountain time. So 2 p.m. Central Time and whatever else that comes out to. All right, so we're gonna make this ornament for the front. And this is where I said that I really think that this Stampin' die set are ideal for putting together with this card because they give you just a really great setting. So I'm gonna go ahead and ink this up, and it doesn't really matter which of the 4 fun squares you use. I am inking in Flirty Flamingo, and I'm going to stamp upside down. Let's see. Now, always look at your stamp. You should be able to tell just from looking at the surface of the rubber if you've, there we go, got ink all the way across there, and I do, so now I'm good. And I'm gonna stamp upside down. I find the easiest way to do that is to go ahead and set my paper on there and just take another block and press it down. That way I know I get my square relatively centered and I have a good impression on there. Okay, so we're gonna set that one aside. And then to go over this, we want to add one of our square dies. So this one, I think is the one we're gonna use for this card. But honestly, any of them go, and they all have just slightly different fun design elements. And so for this, I need a piece of basic white cardstock because we're gonna do, we have this bright color for the background. So I'm gonna do an easy front color for the front so it doesn't compete too much. I'm gonna stick with white. And I've got my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, which will work for this part of our card. For the second part of our card, you will want to have the full-size Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Am I going the wrong way? There we go. All right, there we go. Sometimes if it doesn't grab instantly, you just gotta give it an extra second. And, oh, you guys like the stamping upside down tip. Oh my gosh, yeah, I use that all the time actually, for when you have something that's just precisely cut. So speaking of precisely cut, there is our die. And I'm just gonna pop out the pieces. Sometimes if you just drop your die, they pop out and then you don't have to work at getting them out. And we have our pretty square element here that's gonna go on our card. So this piece is sized, this piece here, the one that I stamped, is just a teeny bit smaller. You can kind of see that than the square, so you wanna do that. And then to attach this, I wanna have a nice shadow between the 2 elements. So I'm gonna go ahead and use some mini Stampin' Dimensionals, and you don't need a ton to get the cool shadow effect, just a couple. So I think, oops, I'm sticking it to my fingers. Just a couple will do it. And then again, think about assembling upside down sometimes. You could do it this way, but you can't really see where the edges of the pieces are. So instead, I'm gonna assemble upside down also, which means I can see where my edges are and hopefully get them lined up. So let's see how we did that there. So now we have our cute little box with the flower and then the fun background. Now, they're great card examples in the catalog, so hang on to your catalogs because they're great inspiration when you're feeling like you're not sure what to make. One of the card ideas is to go ahead and, make 4 of these all different using these. You could do just this one popped up and then more blocks. You could do all the same color with different patterns. Like, oh my gosh, the ideas just kind of explode for this. Now, like I said, we're gonna make this our panel card, so it's gonna fit right down there, and we got our Flirty Flamingo to match our background. The cardstock color for this is just Jade, which is one of the retiring colors. So right now, some of these are on the low inventory list, which means they could sell out like really close. So if you're really freaked out about making sure you get get your cardstock and your ink refills and so forth in these retiring colors. So Bumblebee, Just Jade, Misty Moonlight, Magenta Madness, and Cinnamon Cider. You might consider placing your order before the retiring list is announced, and then you could just place another order after the retiring list with those things that pop up there. But just because these are a hot commodity item at this time of year, and I get so many messages from people like, oh, I missed the reinkers. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. So don't let that be you. All right. So the card here for our faux card is going to mean that we would attach this right here on the front, and then we would have our next panel and then our inside. So that gives us sort of our faux triple panel. But with the real triple panel version, I'm calling them faux and real, we actually want this design element to be on this flap of our card so that we have really like 3 separate places on our card where we have cool design elements, okay? So this is kind of similar to the triple card that I showed you before. This is a different version, a triple panel card. This is a Maker Mornings with Meg tutorial and also a Loven Stamps blog post from earlier in the month. But see how there's triple panel, so 1 panel, 2 panel, 3 panel. The card that we're doing today is the same, okay? So got that faux, just attach it here, be done, don't mess. Real, we're gonna put it here. So what we need is we need a hole on the front of our card to match. It doesn't matter which one of these dies you use. This essentially is just gonna be a square die, okay? Let's see. Oh, Tanya says that the Misty Moonlight refills are already out. Okay, well, like I said, I wasn't making it up. All right, so what I'm doing now is I'm placing the die over this so that I get an idea of where I want this square hole to be. Now, this now is going to cut a square for us. And so I am going to pop some washi tape on here to keep this die straight because I don't want it to move. And then we're gonna put this through our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So this time, I'm gonna flip you up. So if you get motion sick, blink your eyes for a second. Okay, I'm back. So this time we're gonna go ahead and use our large machine because we need the full surface area of our die plate to be able to get the card on. And I'll kind of show you that here. So I have my main plate and then I have our card here. So it's too wide to go through the smaller machine. So sometimes you do need the other. All right. So, or you could, honestly, if you just have the mini machine, you could just do the faux version of this card and then you'd be fine. You don't have to have the whole machine. So let's go ahead and run this through. And like I said, now I'm using the Floral Squares dies just as a square because when I pull this out, then I have this element here and basically we've cut the square there out of our card, okay? All right, so let's bring that back. I'm gonna flip you guys back down again. Hello. And if you missed, if you're just jumping in, we're making the, oops, sorry guys. Oh my goodness gracious. My camera doesn't want to let me, there we go, get you guys all straight today. Okay, so if you're just tuning in, we're making a faux, a real triple panel card. The faux one, you don't need to do this extra die cutting stuff. All right, so then washi tape just peels off and then I stick it actually on top of my die cutting machine so it's just always there when I need it. All right, so back to our card. This part probably will not save, it's just little pieces of things. And we have our window here now cut on the front. So now our box is gonna go here. And you want to make sure you attach this with something pretty strong because it gets tweaked just a teeny bit when the card opens and closes. So I'm gonna use some Stampin' Dimensionals and I'm just gonna put them here on the edge of our card and I'm gonna go crazy. If you know me, 3 Stampin' Dimensionals that close together is going crazy. And then I'm gonna place it by folding our card closed and popping that box right back in the hole and sticking this down, okay? So there, we now have our second panel of our triple. Now, I really like to have an element that layers over the front so that this is its own like full card piece And then this is its own full card piece, and I promised you a tip on placement on the inside, so that's still coming. All right, so let's bring in a strip of Bumblebee cardstock. Moment of silence for Bumblebee. I think it is the color that I will be most sad to see go. And we're gonna go ahead and put a greeting. There's lots of greetings in this stamp set. Of course, if you're like, oh, that stamp set was really cool, Meg, the link is in the video description for all the supplies that I'm using. And I'm gonna go ahead and open up my Night of Navy ink pad because Night of Navy is one of the primary colors in this set. And I'm gonna go ahead and stamp "You Are So Worth Celebrating" on there. Sometimes people need a reminder that they are worth celebrating. So that makes this kind of a fun one. And for just a good sentiment, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and line this up on my trimmer, which I love. You might be going, oh my gosh, how are you gonna cut that tiny little bit on there? But it is a great trimmer. When you close it, you just hold onto the handle here, this little bit, and run across, and it cuts beautifully and doesn't move your cardstock, okay? So great for cutting little slivers because I wanted that to be the perfect size to go on our card front here. So now I'm gonna put a couple dimensionals. I'm gonna put them only on this part here. I'm not gonna seal our card shut. It's always a sad trick for somebody, or kind of funny. I don't know, April 1st is coming. My teenagers sometimes get carried away with things for April Fool's Day. So putting the salt in the sugar, things like that. So, all right. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and set this up here. And now the other part that I like for embellishing this card is that this die set has these fun florals. So it has the great squares, but it also has the fun coordinating florals. And so you could really pick any of these, go beautifully with the Sweet Symmetry Designer Series paper. With sort of that Scandinavian design look. And I'm gonna go ahead and cut these. I thought Flirty Flamingo is a good color, so we're gonna go ahead and pop these on here. Of course, I could use my mini die cut machine for those. And through the magic of television, I have these little flowers. I love when dies are attached to each other, like they are with this little triple flower, so you don't have to kind of work so hard to get them on there. And we are going to pop these here on our card. So a glue tip for you. Multi-purpose liquid glue is my total go-to when, I'm kind of tired of holding this. There we go. My total go-to when I have little elements. Instead of putting the glue on the flower and then picking the flower up, I find it much easier to just put a dot of glue here where I want my flowers to go. And maybe one out here. And then I can pick up my pieces here. Now, if you don't like picking them up at all, go ahead and use your, take your pick tool and pop that on there. Let's see, I'm gonna put this out here, okay? The biggest thing is remembering where your, where your glue dots were, okay? And this one still has a teeny hole in it. Super handy. I have the other, oh, it just fell out when I moved it around. Well, anyway, I had my little pokey tool handy there. And then our last little floral is gonna go out here at the end, okay? So that gives us some fun florals. We still have to do the inside. And then I know Sue's here someplace. We probably need some bling, right? Right, Sue? So I pulled out some bling to decide what I wanted to use for this because I figured maybe you guys would help me decide. So I pulled out the Brush Press butterflies, which I find adorable and could kind of add like a little metallic accent to a card. I pulled out my sequins, the Artistry Bloom sequins. I don't know if these will be on the retiring list, but man, if they are, I will stock up because they're so easy and they match everything. So I think these light blue ones aren't ideal for this card, but these little peachy, orangey ones would be great, or the other iridescent orangey ones, or these will definitely be on the retired list. These are the gems, the in color square gems, and we could pop some yellow ones on there. Even the Misty Moonlight actually goes really nicely with the navy. So I don't know, what do you guys think? Sue says butterflies. I showed them first. Let's see, anybody have a different one? I'm kind of partial to sequins, but I'll go with you guys, what you guys say. Butterflies, another vote for butterflies. Faith says, okay, I haven't seen any votes for anything other than butterflies, so I'm gonna go with the butterflies. And remember, let's see, they are these cute little brass butterflies, and they kind of go wherever you want them to. So let's see. Oops, I just popped a couple. I'm gonna put one here on the flower, and then I like to, you know what? Okay, I just kind of broke my rule. So I always say that we have a focal point, right? So this is our focal point on our card here with our big square, but trying to decide where to put the embellishments, the little tiny sequins. Usually I want to focus on my focal point, but I think I am going to leave this here because what we're doing is we're kind of spreading our focal point. So we're going to make this whole area our focal point, and adding these butterflies a little bit out kind of to the side of that will help to strengthen that look. So now we have our butterflies kind of at either end, which sort of make this like an oval focal point, okay? Oh, Elaine, too late. Okay, next time I'll add sequins for you. Actually, we could add sequins to the other version of this card, the faux one. Okay, but I promised you on the inside to give you this trick. Oh, there's a stray butterfly. I'm gonna pop this back on there. And you might have noticed that like I picked up the butterfly and put it back down. Sometimes you can get away with that. If you can get your fingernail or use the blade tip on your take your pick tool, this one here, you can use that blade, I'd put it back in there, to get underneath that adhesive dot, and you can sometimes reposition those without too much trouble, okay? All right, so now for the inside of our card, we're gonna come back to our stamps because we need a, and also we need a rest of our message to go with this. So this is gonna fit inside. Now, instead of putting our message right in the middle, I like the idea of putting our message up here so that when we open our card, we have that message showing, which kind of complements this second view. So like this is view A, this is view B, view C. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that up here. And I'm gonna use another one of our blocks because these are a nice way to strengthen our image, strengthen our message. But I am going to stamp off a couple of times. So if you're not familiar with stamping off, it basically is a way to get 3 or 4 colors of ink out of a single pad. And so I went kind of 1 stamp, 2 stamp, 3 stamp, and I really want this lightest version. So it's the third iteration, so the third stamp off, okay? So I'm gonna stamp off 1, 2, and then I'm gonna stamp the third time on our card, okay? See how that works? So 1 ink pad, several different shades of the same color. And then I'm gonna add our greeting. The best thing about today is you. And this is gonna pop on there in Night of Navy to kind of complement our front. And then let's go ahead and glue this down. I never glue the inside of my card until I've got it stamped, because if I really mess something up, then I still have the option to turn the cardstock over. All right, so that's gonna go in there. All right. Oh, I'm just tickled that you guys are excited about the stamping upside down trick. I didn't realize we hadn't talked about that for a while. So if you missed it, you can go back. It was when we stamped the block for our embellishment. So here is our triple panel card. So 1, 2, 3. The faux version, like I said, would have you, instead of putting the panel over here, you're going to put the panel on the front. And here is one done with a different designer series paper in Night of Navy, where it's a faux card. So see, it's still very cute. Right here like this, 1, 2, 3. It just keeps you from having to run the card through the die machine one more time, okay? Oh, Tanya says she liked my shirt today. Thank you, Tanya. Let's see, and the bling, here we can put some bling on this one, since Elaine voted for sequins and we missed them. What color do you think? I think this one, actually. These iridescent ones are really pretty on the darker background here. So let's kind of use our same trick. We're gonna actually kind of keep our double focus. So I'll use 1 there and 1 down here. And we've done the same idea with our placement. So we're not just randomly throwing sequins on there. We've got some specific ideas about where they're bringing our focal point together. So our butterflies here and our sequins here. All right, so triple panel card, real version, faux version, both a very fun way to make the most of this all squared away stamp set, which is $10 off right now, the bundle during the month of March. So don't wait too long for that. And using some of the in colors that we know will be disappearing very soon, or in some cases are already disappearing. So don't wait on those to add those to your collection. I don't know. I just love a card with sort of a fun surprise fold, and this one's so easy. Even easier here to do the faux version. It's just sometimes fun to have that extra little surprise when you open the card. It's not just totally normal. Deborah says she loves this paper and she's going to miss it. Yes, me too. Designer series paper from the annual catalog, almost 100% all the time retires. I guess I could be wrong. We'll find out at 1 o'clock Mountain Time. But usually the designer series paper retires, and I would not be surprised to see this stamp set go too. So, but really it's on sale in March. All right, guys. I hope you have a super fabulous Wednesday. It is wonderful to be back with you for Maker Mornings with Meg this week. And I will pop the link in the video description here for the supplies if you need any of these. Faith asked a question. She said, how many of you keep your retired colors and use them often? That is a good question. So from a demonstrator standpoint, when I do Maker Mornings with Meg for you guys, I don't use retired colors because you can't go get them. And I feel like that's like saying, ha ha, I just used something, you can't get it. But I do keep my retired colors. They're up there in a cabinet because a lot of time I'll have leftover cardstock and we use it for card ministry, like at church or something like that, or cards with scouts or cards with groups that are making cards to donate, because that doesn't matter, right? You can make cards with retired colors. So you guys, if you're not a demonstrator, of course, stock up on your favorite colors before they're gone. Hint, hint. Because this is your last chance to get them. So yeah, great question though. I mean, there's no reason to get rid of them. The other thing that you would want if you have a color you really love for longevity is make sure you pick up your ink refills. There are, limited time to get these for retiring colors too. So, all right, guys. Margie says she used her retired cardstock for samples. Yeah, like all kinds of great things to use it for. There's nothing wrong with it. It's great. It just that Stampin' Up! Is making way for new colors. And there are demonstrator sneak peeks out there of the new in colors. They're very pretty too. And they're very bright, which is a great complement for the current in colors, the returning ones. They're right there in their little blocks because they're pretty muted. So evening evergreen, soft succulent. I'm excited for a new round of bright colors. All right, guys. Again, if you're like, wait, I want a copy of the new catalog PDF today, like all the demonstrators, you can become a demonstrator. I would love to have you as part of my Loven Stampfuls demonstrator team. You can learn more about that in the video. Well, actually, it's not in the video description. Just go to Loven Stamps and go ahead and click on Join My Team, and you can join right away. The starter kit is $99 and includes $125 of anything from the catalog that you want. So you could take advantage of retiring stuff. You could take advantage of the discounts that will be announced with the retiring list when it pops out this afternoon. And then you also will have the first crack at product pre-order for the new catalog on April 1st when it starts for demonstrators. So drop me a note if you have any questions about being a demonstrator. It's always a fun, exciting time to get started. So, all right, everybody, have a super fab day, and I will be back on Friday with another Maker Mornings with Meg video. Happy stamping.